Welcome to Tearing Off, the side series I make since animation takes time and I gotta fill in the gaps somehow. Does this game even really need an introduction? It's Mario, kinda like Pac-Man. Everyone knows who the hell Mario is. In 1980-something, Nintendo released this iconic platformer alongside the at the time brand new Nintendo Entertainment System. While it wasn't the first platformer by a long shot, it would go on to define the entire genre and lift it to a far higher standard, which caused a domino effect that's still being felt to this day. Shit, I probably don't even have to explain the game's story. That's how iconic it is. But for the sake of making the video itself a reasonable length instead of 3 minutes, here goes. Somewhere in the Mushroom Kingdom, the evil Koopa King, Bowser, has kidnapped Princess Peach. Using his black magic, he turns the land's inhabitants into bricks and all hell breaks loose. Enter Mario and Luigi, Italian brothers from Brooklyn. They hear about the havoc and go to save Princess Peach from Bowser's clutches and restore peace to the Mushroom Kingdom. Be careful, you might drown with how deep this game's plot is. It's nothing too special, but it's not trying to be. It's just an excuse to get Mario and his glorified palette swap through 8 worlds. Shit, Luigi isn't even playable unless you select the multiplayer mode, which pretty much amounts to pass the controller to your friend! Which, on that note, it's an early NES game. Do you really expect something like Micro Mages here? Didn't think so. Making a jarring segue into controls now, I gotta say, Mario controls phenomenally for an early NES title. In my limited experience, platformers on the NES don't pay much mind to things like momentum, but not here. Mario has top speeds for both walking and running, and he'll even be forced to skid to a stop whenever you need to turn around. I did feel that the skidding was a little too slippery sometimes, and I do feel like it could have benefited from a sound indicating that Mario was skidding, but it's the first game in the series, so baby steps here. I felt almost completely in control of Mario the entire time I was playing the game. It made me feel like each and every death I had was a mistake on my part rather than bullshit level design. Speaking of, I was actually really surprised at how good the level design was. The game did a shockingly good job when it came to showing the player new game mechanics. Like, again, it wasn't the first platformer by far. Activision, we won't make a new Crash or Spyro games, Pitfall comes to mind. But while the game was made after certain concepts like teaching the player through gameplay were known and utilized, they weren't always utilized very well. So to see this game get it down still fairly early on into the history of video games is actually kind of crazy to me. And then again, I was born in the 2000s, so maybe this is like gassing up the invention of sliced bread 100 years after it was conceptualized and well established. Of course, levels tend to be pretty short. An experienced player could probably complete some of these in a minute tops, but the idea behind these levels in particular aren't length, but a largely linear, well-crafted challenge. That said, there's even a little room for exploration if you can believe it. I don't think I have to explain the staple of Mario entering pipes to get into bonus rooms or hitting random blocks to reveal a power-up or a vine that takes you to coin-filled skies, but it's worth mentioning. And of course, I can't talk about exploration without talking about the secret level warp zones in the game. I'm sure everyone here remembers running along the ceiling in 1-2 and discovering the warp zone for the first time. If you know where to find these things, beating the game is a hop, skip, and a jump away. I think it was done to both reward players for exploring stages, while also giving them a way to get back to where they were as soon as possible. I mean, technically there's a little cheat where you hold A and press start to get you back to the last world you had a game over in, but the game doesn't have any kind of save system, so it'll only work if you don't shut off the game console. Getting back to the stage design, the only real gripe I have with it are the fucking mazes in the castles. Not just because I'm not really fond of mazes, but also because there's no indication as to whether or not you went through the right path. And again, I'll cut the game some slack here. Limited storage space is limited, but my god, is that annoying. Couldn't I at least play a sound to let me know I was on the right track? Or even better, couldn't just make me restart the specific part instead of redoing the whole maze? I just found myself getting a little frustrated, that's all. Come to think of it, the game was actually sort of difficult. In a good way, I mean. It could have just been me sucking at Mario games, but I found myself actually getting a couple of game overs here and there. I mean, by the end of my recording playthrough, I was getting really tired, but I wasn't so frustrated that I quit the game. Enemy placement was rock solid too. Not to mention the fact that all the enemies that appear in this game have been made staples of the Mario franchise ever since. Most of them won't cause you too much trouble. I mean, maybe you'll get hit by a shell you kick from time to time, but that isn't really on the Koopa or Buzzy Beetle. About the only enemy I have a problem with is, say it with me now folks, the Hammer Brothers! These fuckers always come in pairs, always throw hammers that are hard as hell to dodge, and even when they aren't throwing hammers, they're always jumping all over the place. Run into one of these fuckers as Base Mario, and you're as good as dead. Otherwise, you're running into these assholes as either Super or Fire Mario, the latter of which being the only really good way to take them down. I mean, you can usually hit the block underneath them since they tend to spawn in on rows of bricks and such, but good luck with that! Very mild exaggeration for the sake of some kind of entertainment aside, the main game was actually harder than the bosses, or or rather the singular boss that just gets more moves as the game progresses. Bowser here is a total joke, a damage boost away from defeat. Speaking of damage boosting, I should mention the power-ups. Mushrooms, fire flowers, and the superstar, or the Starman. Mushrooms make you grow, fire flowers let you shoot fire, and David Bowie makes you invincible. Nothing much to go over here, you likely already knew about all this as well. There are a couple things that bother me about the power-ups though. The first thing is whenever you get hit, Mario gets set back to his base one-hit wonder self, even if you had a fire flower. Secondly, if you pick up the fire flower as Mario, you don't become Fire Mario, you just become Super Mario. Maybe it's just one of those things that annoys me because I'm so used to modern Mario games having those quality of life features, but it's a minor gripe I have nevertheless. Further moving on to visuals and music now, the visuals aren't anything to write home about, but they don't look too bad, all things considered. Everything stands out, colors are used effectively, it's a really great looking game for an early NES title. It really gets the most out of what few assets the game has via common tricks like palette swapping. As for the music, I don't really think I need to say how good it is. It's one of, if not the most iconic soundtrack in gaming. Somehow it doesn't get old, even if there's only around 3 or 4 real songs in the game. The main theme especially has a certain catchiness to it that just hits all the right spots in my head. Of course, since we're talking iconic, I also have to mention the sounds as well. The jump, the coin sounds, dying, the game over jingles, somewhere at some point you've heard all of these. I think it's just a testament to how much of an impact this game had on video games and even culture as a whole. All that said, I was pleasantly surprised to see just how well Super Mario Bros. Aged. I mean, I still have little nitpicks here and there, and the game is ultimately still a game that was made in the 80s, so it's bound to be at least a little dated, but I really enjoyed my time with the game. I don't think that can be said about a whole lot of other games released during this era. Not to mention the insane cultural impact Super Mario Bros. Had on the world as a whole. You'll still see people mentioning things that originated from this game, such as the Minas World, or quoting the iconic line, "Your princess isn't in another castle." The game practically set a standard, something that other games in the series would continue to do as the years went on. This game is practically everywhere these days, and I'd be surprised if you don't have a copy somewhere on an old 3DS or something. It's seen re-release after re-release, even a couple versions that were supposed to be definitive, such as the Super Mario All-Stars port of the game on the SNES or Super Mario Bros. Deluxe for the Game Boy Color. It's available via Nintendo Switch Online, or as a little desk toy if you're feeling frisky. If you're after an original copy of the game, it's gonna cost you anywhere between over 100 USD to around 20 bucks on eBay for an original cartridge as of 2025. Alright, that's all I had to say. Do the YouTube shit.